always, before I start removing wood, I have a look at my carving, my relief carving in this case, and make some decisions. This is a low relief. In other words, there's not really much wood to take away, so this is going to be fairly flat. So a lot of this will be on the original surface. So the first thing to think about is, where are my high spots? And they would be like the haunches here, probably along the back here, and the shoulders, and possibly a bit around the head. So I'm thinking about that. The ears, well, that'll work itself out, but there will be some point of it that is high and goes low, high and goes low, and so on. I'd also look at what wood I'm going to take away, and what I've done here is I've actually highlighted the back leg, because that has to go quite a way down, and I want to make sure I take away the right leg, the correct leg, rather than the wrong one. So I'm going to start at the back here. I'm going to lower this, and then I'm going to start shaping these legs, and I'm going to leave around the edge here a little bit of a lip, just a little bit of a lip where the main leg comes up. So looking at this back leg here, of course the first thing I tend to do is line it in. So I'm going to just separate this leg here from the leg in front. So push this back, and I probably want to go about halfway down to begin with, probably ending up about a third of the way from the back to what the front is. And I'm also going to line in just inside here. So this is the edge that I've already set in. I'm going to take this back now. Right, so now I'm going to actually lower the leg. In other words, we're going to remove wood across the grain. Just take this down, take this back to the level I want. And I do this on all three legs at the same time. So I'm lowering the leg. And then when I've got it roughly to the depth, meaning that this top bit here is the high spot now on this second level, top, second, and then the background, I can start rounding it over. So I'll just take, well, I could probably take the same gouge to begin with, and just start rounding this edge over like this. Little cuts over. So I'm following it down. I'm trying not to stab into the background. So it's going to come along here. Probably easier if I use a pen and dagger grip. Over and around like this. Now with a curve like that, what you might find is something like a back bend, which is this sort of tool. This is a bit big, but you'll see this tool will be able to come around those curves on the inside like this. So this is where a back bent tool comes into its own. Same here. They sort of follow the curve around. But if you don't have one, that's alright. You can just get your tools and just hit little cuts round over. And what will happen is you'll see now, as you come down here, you'll see the junction more clearly, and it might be that you need to clean it up a little bit. So rounding over here, and rounding over there like this. So this back leg almost is entirely separate from the rest of the carving. So when you've got this leg done, and you're happy that you've got the right shape, you can actually start rounding over this leg, this top leg here. I really need to go with the grain, so go with the grain and use the tool upside down. I'm going to get in the way of the camera a little bit, but this way. And you might want to separate this leg off a little bit here. With the bevel on the inside, you can turn the tool upside down, do quite a lot of that. You see the paper will come away. Start bringing that leg down. I've turned the carving around because I need to get at it from this side, and the camera was, I'd get in the way of the camera, but I hope you can see what's going on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to set this edge in again, down to the foot. So this is now, the edge of this wall comes across, down to the foot like this. Now making this foot rather flat, and I'm actually emphasizing this angle, so I've got quite a change of plane here, not there, and that's a sort of carving technique that'll catch a bit of light and show off the leg better. So having got this leg, I can now move into the other bits of the hare. So I'll start on this leg, and we're going to go round the face here. Now there's a little bit of a tail going in there, I've got to remember that. I'm coming round this rabbit here. I keep calling it a rabbit, the hare up here. So I'm now taking that bit out here. So what it means is I can now come up around this leg and round over into the hare here, into that head. So I'm now going to set that head in. So I've got this head coming separate from this body here. And of course I can now round that over, just as I did before. You know, I'm taking wood off like this. Slight dip here, not so much as that one, but a slight dip at the edge there. And then I go into the, round that over. So I'll finish this hair off, I'll come up here, and then I'll be able to turn the tool upside down and come along my body like this, rounding that over. But of course this is flat over here, but I can round over here. So this is rounding over there. So this bit of the back is going to come right down here. So this, it's like an egg shape, fat here, down into there. So I get quite a nice neck, rounding this over. So I'm going to work all this area here into that here, leaving a hard edge there. Some of that off. Before I take that off, I will just put that in here. And that one there. I think if the paper comes away, I'm going to lose my drawing. And you can see it lifts off very easy with that glue. Let's take that off there. The back side comes around here, because there's this little tail in there. So let's make that. This leg, there has to be really sharp separation between the two legs here. So make sure that's sharp. And the belly comes over here. We're coming there a little bit. So I'm just thinking about how hares go. I haven't got a lot of wood. You see it's happening quite quickly. This is all going to be fairly flat. It looks better when I take the paper off. So put the carving up right so you can see it better. A couple of things I want to point out at this stage. This tail here of this rabbit, that's just left chewed up a little bit. So I'm going to deal with that when I deal with the head all the way around. I think you can see here that I've got a strong change of plane down here and down there on the legs. And what that is it's me doing a sort of little carving stylization thing here to make these more leg-like, and the body itself will be a bit more rounded. So that's quite a common sort of carving thing, is to actually make strong changes in plane. The other thing to notice is that I've got a very strong outline. So I've got a little wall going on down here. So I haven't come right down the background. I've got a strong a sort of outline that tells us exactly what's going on. And that's a little relief carving technique where you make sure everybody can see exactly what's going on, the subject, and then within it the changes of plane are less. Anyway, so make sure you've got a strong outline. We're not undercutting, we just have a nice strong chunk here. So okay, so having got the back legs sorted out, let's turn to the front legs. So here we are again, we have a leg at the back, and sort of make sure we know which one's the back. So this is the back leg. So just as we did the front leg, we're going to have to take that back. But there's also will be a little bit here which will separate, which will dig out. That'll separate this leg from the other leg, a little delta leg here. So just as before, we'll start off with our V tool, and I'm going to, in this case I'll go around both. I'm going to come around the outline where I set in. So that's a little bit of a ridge for the front one, and then I'm going to dig that in more for the back. And I'm also going to come down here over this foot, smudge that in, take that back a bit here, and then lower this leg, same distance as the other leg from the back, take some of that away. I've got a little curve here so I can set this leg in a bit here, up to that elbow. Set this one in here. And just as before, I'm going to set in this edge of this circle, so that goes set in there. So now I've got them separated, even though it's a bit rough. I can start doing what I did before, which was just to, let's choose another tool here, this one here, start rounding this over, and rounding this leg over. And then before I really finish this off, I'm going to do a little bit of work on this leg. I'm going to round this over here. So this is very much like what we just did with the back leg. And rounding up here. So what I will get here is a very strong edge. So this I'll stab this in here. So this chest will come down here. So I've got a nice strong outline to that leg there. And this area will be fairly flat, of course, because it's not a lot of wood to come over. But to come around here, and so it's switch to something a bit deeper, and just start trimming underneath. So I'm trimming under the neck of the hare here. So this neck is going to be a little bit thinner here than the body. So that's as far into the head as I'll go. So what I'm going to do now is just clean all this up just as I did before, and then I can just put that little notch in. When the carving is really quite small like this, it's not that easy to film and show you what I'm doing. But I hope you notice that sometimes I've got the tool upside down so that the shape of the tool is actually making the curve. And I'm trying to go with the grain. So, for example, here I really want to come down here like this. And then these two shapes, this one can meet this shape here and form this sort of elbow. So here's the foot coming in. Make a little bit more of that foot. We are going to put some toes into this hair. That's quite a little detail. So, so that's going right into there. And when we come round to this little bit in here, as I said, we'll clean this up. But let me just show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to come round here. And then the bit that's coming out is here, it's like there, like that. So I'm going to use my skew chisel in there. I'm going to push that like a little triangular pyramid straight down the wall there, and there, then along here. I think I'm going to get in the way of the camera again in a moment. Just lift that. So it's a little bit of a shadow in there, that's what we want into there. So we'll clean all this up, and we'll do all the three fronts of the rabbit the same. Clean this all up, check in here while we're there, because I'm changing the light and I can see all the little bits I've missed. And then we're going to go more to the head and the ears.